Okay, thank you so much for watching the Sashiko Live Streaming. This is Atsushi from Upcycle Stitches. I will do the very quick live streaming today. I will probably have like 30 minutes or so today, but I have some topic to discuss, which I hope I can conclude in 30 minutes. And besides that, I will be just doing the Sashiko stitching to make this jacket. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. So today, I will talk about a little bit, a very I will be talking about this Yin and Yang. I hope I'm spelling okay. Yin and Yang. This is the kind of Chinese concept of bright side and dark side, or front and back. So I strongly believe that the ordinary Sashiko follows this idea of yin and yang, which was probably the kind of ordinary mindset or philosophy back in Japan many years ago. So that I would like to talk about it just very briefly today, which is gonna explain the reasons, the story of why I stitch from the back side of the fabric. Just a second. My cell phone, another cell phone is out, so I cannot see the comments. If I miss the comments, please repeat the comments so I can find it. Just a second. So many ask me, like, why do you like? Let me rephrase that. Many ask me, is it right way to stitch from the back side of the fabric or right side of the fabric? We stitch from the back side of the fabric. So this is the back side of the fabric, not the front. And then front is like this side. So we stitch from the back side without even looking at the front side. So there are many reasons there are many reasons we do that, and I explain why we stitch from the back side from the technical perspective. You can read that on our website upcyclestitches.com. Please go to our website upcyclestitches.com to get more information. I think you can search the article, why do I stitch from the back? There should be a kind of detailed article, but long story short, there's 3 reasons. Actually, 2 reasons. There are few reasons. There are few reasons. The biggest reason that I was taught is that by stitching from the back side of the fabric, we can use both sides of the fabric as the finished side. We do not make any knots in stitching. So by doing this, by doing the stitching without knot, we can use the both side of the fabric as the finished side. So we sometimes don't even hide the wrong side with basting, with the batting or putting the interface or lining. So it is different from the quilting because, good morning, it is different from the quilting because some of the project I'm stitching with Sashiko is designed to be used front and back as the finished side. I hope it makes sense. So in order to make the project more beautiful, more neat, more nicely looking, we stitch from the back side of the fabric, and then we can We will trim all of those tails later on. I will trim all of those tails later on to make both sides of the fabric clean and nice. So that's one reason we stitch from the back side. And second reason is actually a shame of the Japanese kind of base fundamental original philosophy, so-called shame, which is strongly related to the Yin and Yang, which is the Chinese concept of bright side and kind of dark side. Again, Yin and Yang, those are a concept of dualism. But the dualism, it's not like a Western or other dualism which is right or wrong, or better or worse. It is just the matter, it's just the explanation that everything has the both side of yin and yang. They don't define which is good or bad, even though they say the bright side and dark side or the shade side. It doesn't define that bright side is better than the shade side is worse. It's not like that. There's no such a thing as the subjective definition of good or bad. It's just how it is. Everything has yin and yang. So the people who stitched like back in Japan long time ago, I believe, this is not like any document, this is just my belief, they also had a philosophy of yin and yang. And this will also tells the story of Japanese truth inside and outside, like good outside and truth inside. We call it honne and tatemae. Tatemae is something, well, I should probably write it down somewhere, but tatemae is the word for the outer face, like smiling or nice face to the others to make the society smooth better. And honne is the word for the actual true feeling. So we could, like the Japanese believe that a human can have two exclusively mutual. It doesn't, those two feelings within oneself. One is outsider face for the better communication or better relationship, and then one is the honne, which is the true feeling. So this related to the yin and yang for the bright side is more like the outer face, like nicer face, and yin is more like the shade side, which is the truth. So because of that, although the yin and yang is not defined as the good or bad, we sometimes define yin as the back side and yang and the front side. It's more like image, not the, again, it's not a definition of good or bad, it's just image. So this, I probably should make a video about this instead of talking over the live streaming, because it is pretty complicated. So yin and yang, which is also the shade and bright, has also related to the concept of, just a second, I blocked out. What was I going to say? Just a second. ちょっと待ってね. Just a second. I lost. Where's my brain? I lost my brain. でしょ? I'm sorry. Thank you so much for waiting. So, yin and yang is, well, I probably should write it down. Sorry, I probably have to explain that nicely. Just a second. I wasn't gonna do this today, but so yin, yang, right? So in Japanese, yin is like yin and yo. あれなんか間違ってる気がする。漢字が違う So this is the kind of shade and bright でしょYeah. 間違えた。Sorry, I made a mistake. 建前。Alright, sorry about this. So what I was talking about is like this. So yin and yang is the dualism of the Chinese philosophy about dualism, about the matter, which is not about good or bad. It doesn't define which is good or bad. It is simply the thing. A matter has both side of the aspect. So yin is more like this. This is my understanding. I might be wrong. I'm not a professional. I'm not a master. I just read a few books. Not a few books. I read books, but that's not, I did not study for this. Anyway, so yin is more like a shade or bag or those like something that side. And yo is more like a brighter side. Brightness or front or tatemae. Something you can show. So this categorization lead something in common, which is the ordinally plus extraordinary. Sometimes people call it hare toke. So in this categorization, if this is not the first time for you to listen to my live streaming, you can kind of find where Sashiko falls in. Here, right? Sashiko is here, ordinally. Therefore, we stitch from the back side. Does it make sense? So, because of this categorization, Sashiko is very much ordinally hand stitching. They didn't go to this side, and stitching from the front side could ruin the ordinarity of Sashiko stitching. Therefore, the Japanese people, at least the people in my family or my ancestors, stitch from the back side of the fabric to respect this concept of yin and yang. I hope this makes sense, but it might not. Good explanation. So I will try to make another video of better explanation. The reason I'm saying that is because I don't think that was a good explanation too. I could have done a better job. But when people ask me why I stitch from the back side of the fabric, they expect me to answer with the reasons, more like technical reasons, like why. We do have those technical reasons too, like we don't make a knot, so we want to make both sides of fabric beautiful. Those techniques can be very much chosen by their preference. If they don't care about the knot, if they don't care about the cleanness of the back side of the fabric, they don't have to stitch from the back side at all. They don't. It is perfectly fine for them to stitch from the front side. Many Japanese stitch from the front side too. However, what I wanted to share was that there is probably a story or concept or deeper knowledge, wisdom of Japanese people, why they stitch from the back side on top of besides, in addition to the technical reasons I could think of. So I sometimes feel it is just a little bit too shallow to say that you can stitch from both, front or back. Doesn't really matter. It does not matter at all. But at the same time, it could matter by learning some Japanese philosophy or mindset. And I wasn't actually gonna explain everything like this today because it's pretty complicated. But I just wanted to tell you that there is a story more than the technical perspective in Sashiko. Well, pretty much all of Japanese culture, which is actually alive in 2020 as of today, they have a lot of stories. Like, I use a lot of analogy to supplement my limited understanding or my limited information knowledge. But sushi is a very good example of Japanese culture, which was very well adapted in the non-Japanese culture. Everybody knows what sushi is. But I don't know if there are many people who understand what sushi was back in Japan. I don't know. But there are a lot of stories. There are a lot of stories about sushi, and there are a lot of people who respect those stories, and then they all follow that. Not all, they try to follow those things. Like, for example, wasabi. Like, wasabi, right? Like, the sushi has wasabi in it. If you make like nigiri roll, not a roll, nigiri sushi, usually they put the wasabi in between the rice and raw fish. If you don't know what wasabi is for, you may feel like, oh, that's wasabi is for the good taste or spice or nice stimulation, blah blah blah. It's like same as Tabasco or same as peppers. It was not for that. The wasabi had a different purpose, different stories for sushi. It was to it is for the antibacteria purpose. So back in Japan, there were not that many. I mean, there were no fridge, there were no electricity, there were not fridge. What they could use was only the ice, and I don't know how they made ice back then. Probably not ice. Well, they didn't have that much food storage or food. There were no way to make the food fresh for a long time. At the same time, they didn't have much good logistics. They couldn't deliver the food, fish from the ocean by truck. They had to use the man labor. So the raw fish. Oops, what was that? That was scary. Oh. So eating a raw fish. What was that? It wasn't mine. Eating a raw fish could be kind of dangerous things to do. It could be spoiled. It could be, when the fish stood getting spoiled, they stood cultivating, or they stood having a lot of bacteria. In order to kill the bacteria, they use wasabi. Not even kill. In order to prevent to have the bacteria on the fish, they use the wasabi as well as the vinegar to make a sushi rice. So there are reasons behind it, and many people know about it. Probably you knew it. At the same time, there are people who doesn't know. And it is okay to not to know, but it is not okay to not to know. I don't like the attitude of ignoring the stories, although they know that there are stories. Not knowing is okay. Not knowing is perfectly fine, because they can learn. But the fact that they know there is another story, yet ignoring them is something I would like to avoid. Whew. So Sashiko, the same things goes to Sashiko. Sashiko has a lot of stories, and I'm here to share, and I'm doing that on the Patreons. I'm doing that on the many platform, including the Instagram here too. But so when you get a chance, I want you to kind of try to enjoy those stories and then feel the richness of Japanese culture. Not only Sashiko, but the other Japanese. It is quite unique, I have to admit. Very, very, very knowledgeable, very educational for that. So Sashiko is just merely a simple stitching form to make fabric stronger, to make fabric more beautiful. But at the same time, in these super small, tiny aspects, they have their philosophy, mindset hidden. You know what? The reason why is that they practice in the ordinary daily basis. They didn't even pay attention to what they were doing. So back in Japan, like let's say 300 years ago, 400 years ago, when they were doing sashiko stitching, did they care about those things? They did not even realize that they were following, because that was so natural for them. As if we checked the smartphone every single morning, they were just following this without even doubting it. It is kind of unique or special in today's world, but back then it was just too ordinary to focus on those things. And therefore, it is quite important to try, not understand, not fully understand, try to understand the stories behind. Whew. Does it make sense? I hope it makes sense somehow for that. It's 5 more minutes. Let's finish this much. Let's finish this line, and I'll probably have to go off. Again, I will try to explain this one again in a different video, like probably one of the Sashiko stories that I make. This was not the best way to explain what Yin and Yang. And whoops. But as you know, I'm doing everything by myself, so making a story video with editing takes a long time. I'm sorry, like it has been a long time since I took one last year. But instead of waiting for a long time, I wanted to share some of the ideas first, and that's here for today. My legs are sleeping. God, my legs are sleeping. God, my legs are sleeping. Oh, there was a question about my Japanese live streaming. Some people ask me to stop doing that. I won't stop doing that. I will keep offering the Sashiko Live Streaming in Japanese. And everything is archived on YouTube after 24 hours of the Instagram stories videos will be deleted after 24 hours. I archive them in the YouTube with the same account, sashi.co. Everything can be reviewable. This one, including this one and the Japanese one. Some people like listening to Japanese. I mean, she says she doesn't understand Japanese, but she kind of likes me talking in the foreign language, which is Japanese, mother language for me, and stitching. And she said she likes listening and stitching together. So for those who has the similar interesting preferences, I kind of probably like sometimes Japanese language is like a music. It has a character like a music too. It's the flow and the word sound. It could be like a music too. So it would be nice to I'm doing exactly the same thing, stitching. Usually the same project, talking not that much important thing. Like in Japanese, I don't talk about that much important things. It's my place to just chit chat because I don't have to use my brain there. But it is all recorded there. Not recorded, the archive there. Okay, well, since I have done this much, I want to do one more. I'm going to do one more to show you the Sashiko pattern, the Asanoha patterns coming out. Just a second. Since I'm here, let me do one more. So as of now, this is the end of, this is the jacket, of the back side of the jacket. And I have to fill out the gap. That's what I'm going to do now. Let me do it real quick and then that can be gone. I can go to, If you have any questions about, well, not a technique, but any questions about what I do, my intention is to answer it every time I can. So you can leave the comments. Of course, you can comment it right now, or you can leave the comments so that I can answer it whenever in the next live streaming or so. So I focus on stitching rather than teaching over the live streaming, so I won't stop my stitching and then do something for you to answer the question. But at the same time, it is my goal to share the Sashiko we practice, so I'm not going to say no to everything. I might ask you to spend a little more time, but the questions are welcome. I might not answer as often as I want to, but again, I'm doing everything by myself, so it's kind of difficult to keep up with everything. It's okay, it's okay. What weight of thread are we using? We are using only one kind of thread which cannot be described, the standard measurement of the weight. Like, I understand there's like a weight of 4 divided by 20, or I don't know how to say that in English, but I understand that there's a different kind of way to express what kind of thread we're using, but our thread is not defined by that. Instead, we call it Sashiko thread. Everything is made in Japan, and we manufacture them for the Sashiko purpose. And in order to learn what is the Sashiko purpose, please check our website, like what is the difference between the Sashiko thread and the other thread. But the thickness is about 0.1 millimeter, but the thickness is not the priority or important part of Sashiko's thread. It is all about the twist and then the materials. Again, if you could read the article about Sashiko thread and what is the difference between what is the purpose of Sashiko thread, the article should be explaining everything, why I keep recommending to use the Sashiko thread instead of any kind of other thread. Thread does matter. Thread makes a huge difference, especially if you're gonna be working on this Sashiko borrow mending project. You're welcome. Sakura? Sakura, どうした? Wow. Thank you for the comments. Why do I work from this side of the fabric? That's exactly the topic I talked today. So please rewatch this live from the beginning. It should be recorded, and you can probably view it in the Instagram for 24 hours, and after that I'll upload it to the YouTube. I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna re-explain everything which I've done in the last 30 minutes. So there's many reasons. There are a few reasons that I can explain, and probably many more reasons that people worked from this side. That is okay. I'm not blaming. I'm just. It was a very timely question, so I was kind of. It was fun. It was funny. Because I covered exactly the. I received the same question previous time. That's why probably I decided to talk about it this time. So yes, everything. Not everything, but the preview of why I stitch from the back side is explained in this video. Like 35 minutes of video I've been doing. If you could watch it from the beginning, I explained that in the probably first 20 minutes or so, I guess. And everything can be rewatched in the YouTube even after 24 hours, so don't worry about it. You got nothing missed. You missed nothing. God, English is so difficult. Little more line, this much Sashiko thread, and I'll be go off. But this is the Sashiko jacket I am going to wear to the QuiltCon 2020, which is coming 2 weeks from now. It's so exciting, so scary. I'm so nervous, but so nervous. Excitement is 10%. 90% is nervousness. Not anxiety. Well, it's probably anxiety. I am a perfectionist, which is the worst thing that I have for the Sashiko stitching. But I really want everybody to be happy with what I share in the QuiltCon, so I'm spending a lot of time to prepare. But I always feel that there's something more that I can do. But I'll be wearing some jacket, but if you plan to come to the QuiltCon, and if you happen to take the workshop from me, I've heard that it was sold out a long time ago, but if you happen to be there and take a workshop, I am very much looking forward to meeting you. Even if you're not taking the workshop of Sashiko workshop, yet you'll be there. If you find me wearing Sashiko, whatever Sashiko, say hello to me. I prepared to be a difficult person. Again, it sounds weird, but I prefer to be a difficult person to talk to over the internet because there's so many interesting people around. So I rather be a strange and stubborn, difficult people to talk to avoid some unnecessary troubles, rather than smiling and replying every comments with the happy voice or something like, I'm not sharing all the happy face all the time. At the same time, I hope I'm not that difficult person to talk to in the real life. Yeah, in the real life. So If you find me in the quilt.com, please talk to me, if you don't mind. Many people why did I say many people? Perfect, no, not perfect. No, why did I say many people? No. Oh yeah, many people who took my workshop comes to the workshop very nervously because of what I say on the Instagram, or I usually am not the easy person to get close to from the writing, and I try to be like that, but they kind of get surprised how easygoing I am. So if one Japanese culture is respected, I hope I will. I'm not that difficult. Good night. なんで中国語? むちゃくちゃです。Good night. Thank you. Thank you for watching, Shinobu-san. I thought all Japanese people were perfectionists. Not all of them. My mother is not. But if we're gonna use the standard of Japaneseness as the perfectionist or preciseness, then I'm the perfectionist of the perfectionist. Then you'll be surprised. Okay, a few more stitches and I will go off. So I will see you this coming Friday again. Is there anything on Friday? I don't think so. So I try to have the live streaming every Friday and Tuesday, and Friday at 10:30 Eastern Time, New York time, AM, 10:30 AM. I understand that there are better time frame, but this is the only time I can do. At least this is the only time I can continue offering. I can't keep offering it, so I hope you can join me every week or whenever you can. Again, everything will be archived in the YouTube, so you can watch it there too. Okay, so not bad, I guess, for today's work. Let me show you the result. I'll zoom up. Yo. So after filling all those gaps, it will look like Asanoha pattern. How many hours did I work for? Probably 4 hours, 5 hours. I think not bad. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I will see you this coming Friday at 10:30 AM Eastern Time. Bye bye. Good night. Just a second. Oh, this one.